Welcome to Thought Grid. Tonight, we unlock the doors to some of the most terrifying haunted houses where restless spirits and malevolent entities linger, their stories forever etched into the very walls. These are not tales from fiction. These are the chilling, true accounts of those who dared to live in the shadows of the supernatural. Prepare yourselves, for what you are about to hear may just make you question the safety of your own home. The true horror of a haunted house lies not just in the bumps in the night, but in the slow, creeping realization that you are not alone, and that the spirits who share your space may not be friendly. These are the stories of those who live to tell the tale, and the houses that will forever haunt their memories. Story 1. The Whispering Walls of the Harrisville Farmhouse. Our first story takes us to a remote farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, a place that would become infamous as the real-life inspiration for the movie The Conjuring. In 1971, the Perron family, a couple with 5 daughters, moved into the charming, historic farmhouse, hoping for a peaceful country life. What they found instead was a 7-year reign of terror at the hands of a malevolent entity. The paranormal activity started subtly. A misplaced object here, a faint whisper there. The children would complain of seeing shadowy figures in their rooms at night, their voices filled with a chilling, mournful cry. The parents, Carolyn and Roger, initially dismissed it as the overactive imaginations of their children, the creaks and groans of an old house settling. But the activity soon escalated, becoming more frequent, more aggressive. Doors would slam shut on their own, objects would fly across the room, and a cold, putrid smell would often permeate the house, a scent of decay and death. The children were tormented by unseen forces, their beds shaking violently in the middle of the night, their blankets ripped from their bodies. One of the daughters, Cindy, claimed to see a woman in a gray dress, her face contorted in a silent scream, her eyes filled with an ancient, malevolent hatred. The family was living in a constant state of fear, their dream home transformed into a living nightmare. Desperate, the Perrons sought the help of Ed and Lorraine Warren, the renowned paranormal investigators. The Warrens, upon entering the house, immediately sensed a powerful, demonic presence. Lorraine, a gifted clairvoyant, was overwhelmed by the dark energy, the psychic residue of a long and tragic history. She discovered that the house was haunted by the spirit of Bathsheba Sherman, a woman who had lived on the property in the 19th century and was rumored to be a witch who had sacrificed her own child to Satan. Bathsheba, it seemed, had cursed the land, and her malevolent spirit continued to torment anyone who dared to live in her former home. The Warrens conducted a series of exorcisms, attempting to cleanse the house of its demonic infestation. But Bathsheba's spirit was powerful, and she fought back with a terrifying ferocity. During one particularly harrowing seance, Carolyn Perron was possessed by the entity, her body contorting, her voice a guttural, demonic growl. The Warrens, with the help of a priest, managed to expel the spirit, but the experience left the family deeply traumatized. The Perrons eventually moved out of the farmhouse, unable to endure the constant torment. But the memory of the whispering walls, the shadowy figures, and the malevolent presence of Bathsheba Sherman would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The Harrisville farmhouse remains a chilling testament to the power of the supernatural, a place where the veil between the living and the dead is terrifyingly thin. Story 2. The Haunting of the Smurl Family. Our second story takes us to a quiet, unassuming duplex in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, where the Smurl family, Jack and Janet and their 4 daughters, experienced a terrifying haunting that would last for over a decade. In 1974, the Smurls moved into their new home, hoping for a peaceful suburban life. But their dream soon turned into a nightmare as they found themselves at the mercy of a powerful, demonic entity. The paranormal activity began subtly, with strange noises, flickering lights, and a persistent, foul odor. But it soon escalated into a full-blown demonic infestation. The family would hear loud, guttural growls emanating from the walls, see shadowy figures moving through the house, and feel the chilling touch of unseen hands. The daughters were tormented by a dark, spectral figure that would appear in their rooms at night, its eyes glowing with a malevolent red light. The family was living in a constant state of terror, their home a battleground between the natural and the supernatural. Desperate, the Smurls sought the help of the Catholic Church, who performed a series of exorcisms on the house. But the demonic entity was powerful, and it resisted every attempt to expel it. The activity only intensified, becoming more violent, more personal. Jack and Janet were physically assaulted by the entity, their bodies covered in scratches and bruises. The family was living in a constant state of fear, their lives a living hell. The Smurls' story gained national attention, and they were soon joined by Ed and Lorraine Warren, the famous paranormal investigators. The Warrens confirmed that the house was infested by a powerful demon, a malevolent entity that was determined to destroy the family. They conducted their own investigation, documenting the paranormal activity and working with the church to try and find a way to expel the demon. But the demon was relentless. It would mimic the voices of the family members, create illusions, and even manifest as a physical being. The Smurls were living in a constant state of psychological and physical torment, their faith and their sanity pushed to the breaking point. The haunting continued for years, a slow, agonizing descent into madness. In 1986, after years of torment, the Smurls finally moved out of the house, unable to endure the constant attacks. The house was eventually blessed by a priest, and the paranormal activity seemed to subside. But the Smurl family was forever scarred by their experience. Their story remains one of the most well-documented cases of demonic haunting in American history, a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones that we cannot see. Story 3. The Sallie House. Haunting our third story takes us to a small, unassuming house in Atchison, Kansas, a place that would become known as one of the most haunted houses in America. In 1992, a young couple, Tony and Deborah Pickman, moved into the house, excited to start their new life together. But their excitement soon turned to terror as they found themselves at the mercy of a mischievous and sometimes malevolent child spirit. The paranormal activity began subtly, with flickering lights, strange noises, and the sound of a child's laughter echoing through the empty halls. But it soon escalated, becoming more frequent, more personal. Tony, in particular, seemed to be the target of the entity's attention. He would be scratched, pushed, and even burned by an unseen force. The couple would find their belongings moved, their furniture rearranged, and their dog would often bark and growl at an empty corner of the room. The Pickmans, initially skeptical, soon realized that they were not alone. They discovered that the house was haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Sallie, who had died in the house in the early 1900s during a botched appendectomy. Sallie, it seemed, was a playful, but sometimes angry, spirit who had a particular dislike for men. Tony, being the only man in the house, became the focus of her paranormal pranks and attacks. The Pickmans tried to coexist with Sallie, even leaving out toys for her to play with, but the activity only intensified. Tony would be viciously attacked, his body covered in deep, painful scratches. The couple would hear Sallie's disembodied voice, sometimes giggling, sometimes screaming in anger. They were living in a constant state of fear, their home a playground for a vengeful child spirit. The Pickman story gained national attention, and they were soon joined by paranormal investigators who documented the strange and terrifying events. The house was featured on numerous television shows, and it quickly became a popular destination for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. The Sallie House, as it came to be known, was officially one of the most haunted houses in America. After years of torment, the Pickmans finally moved out of the house, unable to endure the constant attacks. The house has since been owned by a series of paranormal investigators who continue to document the strange and unsettling activity. The Sallie house remains a chilling testament to the power of a child's spirit, a place where the line between playful mischief and malevolent terror is terrifyingly thin. Story 4. The Amityville Horror. Our final story takes us to a large Dutch colonial house in Amityville, New York, a place that would become the site of one of the most famous and controversial hauntings in American history. In 1975, the Lutz family, George and Kathy, and their 3 children moved into their dream home, a beautiful house with a dark and tragic past. Just 13 months earlier, the house had been the scene of a brutal mass murder where Ronald DeFeo Jr. had shot and killed his entire family. The Lutzes, aware of the house's history, were not deterred. They believed they could make it a happy home once again. They were wrong. The paranormal activity began almost immediately. The family would hear strange noises, see shadowy figures, and feel a constant, chilling presence. A foul odor would often permeate the house, and swarms of flies would appear in the middle of winter. The youngest daughter, Missy, began talking to an imaginary friend named Jody, a pig-like creature with glowing red eyes. The family was living in a constant state of fear, their dream home transformed into a living nightmare. George, in particular, seemed to be affected by the house's dark energy. He became withdrawn, moody, and obsessed with the house's history. He would spend hours in the basement where the murders had taken place, and would often wake up at 3:15 a.m., the exact time of the killings. He was slowly being consumed by the house's malevolent spirit. The Lutzes, desperate, sought the help of a priest who came to bless the house. But as the priest began to pray, he was overcome by a powerful, demonic force. He heard a disembodied voice scream, "Get out!" and was physically slapped by an unseen hand. He fled the house in terror, warning the Lutzes to never sleep in the upstairs bedroom again. The paranormal activity only intensified. The family would see green slime oozing from the walls, hear a phantom marching band in the middle of the night, and even witness a crucifix turning upside down on its own. They were living in a constant state of terror, their lives a living hell. After just 28 days, the Lutzes fled the house, leaving all of their belongings behind. They never returned. Their story, which became the basis for the book and movie The Amityville Horror, remains one of the most debated and controversial hauntings in history. Skeptics claim that the Lutzes fabricated the story for financial gain, while believers maintain that they were the victims of a powerful, demonic entity. Whatever the truth, the Amityville house remains a chilling symbol of suburban horror, a place where a family's dream turned into a terrifying, real-life nightmare. The Perron family's ordeal in the Harrisville farmhouse left an indelible scar on their lives. Even after moving out, irrevocably altered. Even after moving out, the psychological scars remained, a constant reminder of the living hell they had endured. The Smurl haunting stands as one of the most extreme and well-documented cases of demonic possession and infestation, a chilling testament to the profound evil that can sometimes latch on to a family, turning their home into a prison of fear. Tony and Deborah Pickman's experience in the Sallie house was a harrowing journey into the unpredictable nature of child spirits. While Sallie was often described as mischievous, her actions towards Tony were undeniably malevolent. The scratches and burns he endured were not accidental. They were deliberate acts of aggression, leaving him with physical scars that mirrored the emotional ones. The couple's attempts to appease Sallie, to treat her as a lost child, were met with escalating violence, particularly towards Tony. The sound of a child's laughter, initially innocent, became a chilling harbinger of impending torment. The moving objects, the rearranged furniture, were not just pranks, They were a constant invasion of their personal space, a reminder that they were never truly alone. The disembodied voice, sometimes playful, sometimes filled with rage, was a terrifying manifestation of Sallie's volatile nature. The house itself seemed to be a conduit for her energy, amplifying her emotions and allowing her to exert a terrifying control over their lives. The constant fear of what Sallie might do next, the uncertainty of when and how she would strike, created an atmosphere of pervasive dread. The Pickman's story highlights the disturbing reality that not all child spirits are benign. Some carry a deep-seated anger and resentment that can manifest in terrifying ways. The Sallie house remains a magnet for paranormal investigators, a place where the echoes of a tragic past continue to play out, and where the line between playful haunting and malevolent torment is terrifyingly blurred. The Lutz family's brief but intense stay in the Amityville house became a cultural phenomenon, but for them it was a living nightmare that forever altered their lives. The paranormal activity was relentless, escalating from strange noises and foul odors to terrifying physical manifestations. George Lutz's obsession with the house, his withdrawal and his physical deterioration were chilling signs of the malevolent entity's influence. The 3:15 a.m. awakenings, the time of the DeFeo murders, were not coincidences. They were a deliberate torment, a psychological assault designed to break his will. Kathy Lutz's transformation, her increasing fear and the strange, uncharacteristic behavior of the children painted a picture of a family under siege. The green slime oozing from the walls, the phantom marching band, the inverted crucifix. These were not mere tricks of the light or imagination. They were undeniable proofs of a powerful, demonic presence. The priest's terrifying encounter, his physical assault, and the chilling warning to get out, solidified their belief that they were dealing with something truly evil. The family's desperate flight from the house, leaving everything behind, was a testament to the unbearable terror they endured. Even after escaping, the psychological scars remained, and the controversy surrounding their story only added to their burden. The Amityville horror became a benchmark for haunted house stories, but for the Lutzes, it was a deeply personal and traumatic experience that left them forever changed. The house on Ocean Avenue stands as a chilling reminder that some places are cursed and that some evils are so profound that they can transcend time and space, forever haunting those who dare to cross their threshold. The debate over the Amityville haunting continues, but for those who believe, it remains a terrifying true story of a family's battle against an unspeakable evil. The Perron family's life after the Harrisville farmhouse was a constant struggle to regain a sense of normalcy. The children, particularly Andrea, found themselves haunted by vivid memories and recurring nightmares. Andrea recounted how the entities would often target them individually, whispering their names, pulling their hair, or even manifesting as terrifying apparitions. The sheer volume of paranormal activity was overwhelming, ranging from disembodied voices and footsteps to full-bodied apparitions and physical attacks. The family dog, a German shepherd named Sadie, would often react violently to unseen presences, barking and growling at empty corners of rooms, further validating the family's terrifying experiences. The cold spots in the house were not just localized areas. They were often accompanied by a feeling of immense dread and a sudden drop in temperature that would send shivers down their spines. The smell of decaying flesh, a signature of Bathsheba's presence, would appear and disappear without warning, a constant reminder of the malevolent entity that shared their home. The Warrens' involvement, while providing some validation, also brought a new level of intensity to the haunting, as the entities seemed to react to their attempts at investigation and exorcism. The final exorcism attempt, which saw Carolyn Perron possessed, was the terrifying climax of their ordeal, a moment that forever shattered their understanding of reality. Even after leaving the house, the family reported residual activity, a testament to the deep-seated nature of the haunting. The Harrisville Farmhouse, now a private residence, continues to draw paranormal enthusiasts, a chilling beacon for those who seek to understand the true nature of the supernatural, and a stark reminder of the Perron family's 7 years of living hell. The Smurl family's prolonged torment in West Pittston left them emotionally and physically scarred. The demonic entity, described as a powerful and intelligent force, seemed to delight in their suffering. Jack Smurl, a former military man, found himself helpless against the unseen aggressor, enduring brutal physical assaults that left him bruised and battered. Janet Smurl, a devout Catholic, struggled to reconcile her faith with the terrifying reality of their situation. Her prayers often met with mocking laughter and increased torment. The entity's ability to mimic voices, particularly those of deceased relatives, was a cruel psychological tactic, designed to break their spirits and sow discord within the family. The manifestations were not limited to the house. The Smurls reported being followed by the entity even after leaving their home, experiencing paranormal activity in hotels and other locations. The church's initial reluctance to acknowledge the demonic nature of the haunting only prolonged their suffering, forcing them to endure years of escalating attacks before finally receiving the full support of the diocese. The Warrens' investigation provided crucial evidence, documenting the physical phenomena and confirming the demonic presence. The Smurl case became a landmark in paranormal research, a chilling example of a full-blown demonic infestation that pushed a family to the absolute limits of human endurance. Their story, though controversial, serves as a terrifying reminder that some evils are not just metaphorical, but are real, tangible forces that can invade and destroy lives, leaving behind a legacy of fear and trauma that transcends generations. Tony and Deborah Pickman's ordeal in the Sallie house was a constant battle against a spirit that blurred the lines between playful and malevolent. Sallie's attacks on Tony were particularly vicious, often occurring when he was alone or vulnerable. The scratches, burns, and even the feeling of being choked were not random acts. They were targeted assaults designed to inflict pain and terror. Deborah, though not physically attacked as often, bore the emotional brunt of witnessing her husband's suffering and living in a house where a child's laughter could turn into a terrifying scream. The couple's attempts to communicate with Sallie, to understand her motivations, often led to increased activity, as if their attention fueled her power. The house itself seemed to be alive, with doors opening and closing on their own, objects moving, and the constant feeling of being watched. The presence of other spirits, including a male entity believed to be Sallie's father, further complicated the haunting, creating a complex and volatile paranormal environment. The Pickmans' decision to open their home to paranormal investigators and the media brought both validation and increased scrutiny, turning their private nightmare into a public spectacle. Despite the constant fear and the physical toll, they remained in the house for several years, a testament to their resilience and their desperate hope for a resolution. The Sallie house continues to be a hotbed of paranormal activity, a way